Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Speedrun Insider. My name is CJitsallGewd. I'm your host this week and every week. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a very special guest for you this week. I will say, and you already know who it is, right? Because you're looking at the title and you already know who it is. But I'm going to still build the suspense anyway, because that's how I roll. I've wanted to have this person on since the beginning, but it was an act of restraint. I said, no, CJ, you can't have everybody on right away. You can't have all of the big guns come out of the arsenal right away. You have to save, you have to build. And then in some sort of like imposter syndrome moment, I was like, maybe I don't deserve to have this person on my podcast. Now that sounds maybe ridiculous to my guest, but it's 100% true. And so my guest for today, if I could put in a drum roll without it sounding awful, I would put in a drum roll. I'd start beating my desk right now. My guest for today is one of the 5 gods of Donkey Kong. He is the voice and soul behind one of my favorite pop-offs in speedrunning history, and he's about to roll in. My guest this week is the incomparable V0oid. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm good. Rolling in.
Hey, listen. You're known for many things. One of them is that you roll in, man.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Also, you're absolutely right about what you said. Saving the juice for later. Hey, now I'm here, so I'm happy to be here.
Hey, right? I gotta save the best. You can't just pop the cork right away. The bubbly has to age.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Man. So, a lot of things I want to talk to you about. So many questions. And so many stories. But I want to start off, what is little V0oid playing as a kid? What games are you playing when you're young? Like, where does your video game journey begin?
My video game journey? Well, as far back as I can recall it, the first game I played was Pokemon Silver on the Game Boy Color. And by playing, I mean, owning. I remember getting a Game Boy Color, and I remember getting Pokemon Silver for one of my birthdays. And played the crap out of that game. Still, to this day, one of my favorites. I also came into contact with my cousin's Super Nintendo, and she owned DKC-1 and Yoshi's Island. And to this day, two games that are very dear to me, 2 games that I actually speedrun, and yeah, the journey pretty much starts there. I do remember eventually just taking a break from video games, but that just came much later. That was around when I was, I think, 6 or 7, all I'm talking about the SNES Discovery and just me playing Pokemon Silver on my Game Boy. Yeah. That's really how it started.
Right. Those games are, I mean, I guess in name only, Yoshi's Island and DKC are both platformers, but they're very different games.
Right, yeah.
And Pokemon Silver obviously is a Pokemon game. Mm-hmm. What is it about those games in particular that really got you into them, right? What is it about those 3 games? Because they're so different. That appeals to you then because you were a kid and those were the games that you played and captured your memory, and then also now because you also speedrun them.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it's a combination of the atmosphere that these games provide and the incredible soundtracks that each of them have on their own, and it's it really built up my imagination, and that's why when I came back to them much later as an adult, I was still hooked by them.
Right, yeah. No, they definitely do a great job of building such a great atmosphere. I am DKC's music is comparable. It's not even just the best music, video game music on that generation. It's some of the best video game music of all time.
Yeah, it was just so iconic, to this day, you still you still like recognize, aquatic ambience and Gangplank Galleon, and it's like they're iconic. There's just no other way to put it. Like across the SNES OST as a whole, like those two tracks, like amongst like many others, like Fear Factory, another good example. Like they're just so good. There's no other way to put it. Like they really stood the test of time, and like I don't even know if like there are other games on the SNES that can compare to the OST that like DKC provides. Like not even just like DKC1, but like the entire trilogy. It's just like it's so good.
Yeah, David Wise, I think, was the composer at Rare for that time, and like all of that music. And Grant Kirkhope came later, and did like I think he did.
Kirkhope did
Banjo?
both Banjo games, and I think he also did Donkey Kong 64. But let's not talk about Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, you're not a fan?
Nah, not really.
They're very different. They're very different games, and it doesn't look like there's but so much crossover between the two as a speedrunning game. I will say that I never played DK64 anecdotally because we rented it and the Blockbuster didn't give us an expansion pack.
Oh, well.
So you
got robbed.
You got robbed a little bit, yeah. And then they gave us Racing Beetle Adventures instead. So I've played that game. That game's not bad. They had a hide and seek mode.
Dodged a bullet right there.
Oh man, come on now. Where does it come from?
I'm mostly kidding. But like as a kid, I clearly remember playing Donkey Kong 64 at some point. I never owned the game, but I think I like played it maybe like at a friend's place or something like that. And like I was excited by it because at first I was like, hell yeah, like a new Donkey Kong game. I already love the SNES trilogy. And then I played it and I was like, man, this is not what I was expecting. And ever since that day, I've just like kind of dissed the game. But like I don't really have a good reason to diss it. I diss it mostly for the meme. But
at least you're committed, right?
Yeah. At least I want to like keep that. How do you call it? Just like this like urban legend going that like I despise Donkey Kong 64, but like it's mostly just like smack talk.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah. I mean, as a Donkey Kong video game fan, I would think it'd be fair to say that your community of people, the Donkey Kong video game community, I don't think it's a stretch to say that you guys are long suffering. The game, it went from DKC1, which GOAT, DKC2, probably one of the best sequels to a game ever, right?
Yep, agreed.
And then DKC3, which I think it gets a disproportional amount of hate compared to like, how do I want to say this? It gets a disproportional amount of hate because at the time it was so much more different that people didn't like it. But if you go back now, there's no doubt it's like, oh, it was a good game, right? It's like, just not the follow-up you wanted from DKC2, right?
I think it's like a combination of the fact that it was overshadowed by DKC2 because like DKC2 was so good and it was like such a huge improvement over DKC1, coupled with the fact that you had Kiddy Kong and like not a lot of people love Kiddy Kong, but like the game is really good. It's just like I kind of want to like almost say it was like bad timing, or it was just like I guess did not live up to people's expectations. But like, yeah, it definitely did not deserve the shit talking it got like throughout its years.
Right, nothing could really follow up DKC2.
Man, that's like a colossal task to say the least.
I mean, follow up one of the greatest games on that console with another banger, right?
Yeah.
Like follow it up, not only just like outdo yourself, but then do it again. And then you set the bar so high, and then do that again a second time with DKC3. It just didn't seem possible. It is, I think people now have a little more respect for it. It is a good game. But it's not what they wanted.
Back then, I don't think it was. Yeah. But I feel like, because when I do stream those games on Twitch, like I notice like immediately when people like what I'm streaming, and like I've always pulled like really good numbers playing DKC3 compared to when I'm playing DKC1, and like that's kind of when it clicked in my head that like people actually love that game. People like might actually like love that game more than DKC1, and like without really like lying or anything, I'm kind of one of those people. I think I do like DKC3 more than DKC1 as a whole.
Really? Wow.
Not now, whether that was true when I was a kid or not, like that's an entirely different story. But like I've definitely grown to appreciate what DKC3 is as an adult a lot more.
Yeah, I think that was really well put.
Mm-hmm.
After DKC3, obviously, I felt like a lot of the love, and I don't want to say a lot of the love. I think that a lot of Rare's best ideas got put into Kazooie, and I felt like because it was their first game, there was a little more restraint there. And so you get DK64, which is a collectathon. I didn't ever go back to it as an adult because it looked dark. Like it looked like a game that took place in the dark. Right? It was not the colorful, fun adventure that the original Donkey Kong Country games were, or that Banjo is. And I love Banjo. Like Banjo is my jam.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah, like oh my god, I swear I've played that game every year, all the way through, since I got through high school for sure.
Fun fact about Banjo, I've only played Banjo for the first time like recently. I think 2019 was the first time I played Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I loved it. And then I played Banjo-Tooie, I think either later that year or like beginning of I think later that year. I want to say like summer of 2019. And I also loved it. I don't know what your thoughts are on Banjo-Tooie, but I personally really like that game as well.
Banjo-Kazooie only had one instance of developer-intended backtracking. So in theory, if you did the levels in the right order, you would only have to backtrack once.
Yeah.
And I really loved that about that game, and I still do, because I'm like, oh, this is good level design. This is good game design. And Tooie is like, okay, you can get 7 from the first, then you got to get a whole bunch of stuff and come back. The areas are bigger. And I'll credit Donkey here. I know he's a little bit of some people consider him a controversial figure, but he made this really good point about small levels in video games, and that all the interesting stuff is right there. It makes them more rewarding to explore, because in big levels, all the interesting stuff is in every far-reaching corner. Yeah. It takes forever, and then you're just looking through a bunch of empty hallways.
You have to take more time to explore the entire thing.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of the personality that people remember about the Kazooie franchise comes from Tooie. Like a lot of the like energy and the dialogue and the sass and the personality, all the stuff that also culminate. Like, if DKC64 is a monument of all of the collectathon sins of Kazooie and Tooie, I felt like Conker's was a monument of all the dialogue and poor behavior.
I haven't played Conker, but like that game isn't famous for that reason. So yeah, clearly it did something. I guess it did something right, but
oh yeah, I mean for sure. Like if you ever get the chance, I highly recommend doing a playthrough of it. But it's like it takes what you think it'll be, even if you know what it will be. It takes that preconceived notion of what it is, and it kind of still shocks you that this is a video game on the N64.
Right, yeah. Conker playthrough probably eventually. Like I'll add him to the list by my never-ending backlog.
Hey, listen, man, the best lists are never-ending, right?
That's true. That's true.
Once you check everything off, then what are you gonna do? Are you gonna start collecting stamps or something?
Well, I'll tell you in like 25 years, I guess.
Hey, listen, man. But then after DK64, you guys get Donkey Konga. Going back to the thread of like Donkey Kong fans are long suffering. You guys have Donkey Konga 1 and 2, which had licensed music in it. Like it had some Nintendo songs. I think the second
I also
one had
haven't
more.
played those games, so like it's funny you keep like going through the timeline now, because like the game that comes after Donkey Konga 1 and 2 I played, but I did not play the Donkey Konga games. To me, like at first when I saw those games, just the gimmick of like the bongos was so like off-putting to me that I didn't really want to have to do with them. But like I guess they kind of paved the way like somehow for like these types of add-ons to like your game, and then you can just like build up on that gimmick. And yeah, I don't know if like these games have been well received, if they're any good or what, but like let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about Donkey Konga?
My man is out here for the content. He's protecting the brand. Well, I think the one thing about some games are there's like, okay, is it a match that needs an arena, or is it an arena that needs a match? Did they make a Donkey Kong game so cool and needed its own peripheral? Or did somebody in R&D come up with a set of drums that could play rhythm games that came out? Okay, who can we put on this thing? Who's not doing anything right now? DK, put him in there.
Yeah.
Right? And so while Mario is out there doing like soccer and basketball and baseball and karting and everything else in the world.
Mario is busy making Nintendo money.
While he's printing cash, my man Donkey Kong's got to go schlep in the streets as a friggin' rhythm game, dude.
Yeah, basically.
And then you guys get Barrel Blast, which had so much potential, and it completely whiffed. Did you play Barrel Blast?
Well, it's the first time I hear about it, so maybe that's why it whiffed.
Imagine a Donkey Kong kart racer, but it also uses like, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, well, you kind of lost me at kart racer like already. Just like I can't say I'm like that big on racing games in general. So like you probably not even get like even making a Donkey Kong racing game, you're probably not gonna like bribe me.
Well, I think that originally it was a game where you'd be like the Donkey Kong guys and girls, right? And you would what you would do is you'd like the trailer for it was you could like ride Rambi or like the other animal buddies.
Yo, heck Rambi.
Heck Rambi. All my homies hate Rambi. And but then they made it a racer for the thing that used the V0oid. And but it was originally meant for the GameCube. So it was a GameCube game on the Wii. It was originally meant to be controlled with the bongos, and then it's like really awful.
Oh, okay. I got you, yeah.
But also, I can't imagine a racing game where you go faster based on how hard you beat the drums.
Yeah, well, Jungle Beat kind of explored that gimmick a little bit. I don't know if like you were about to talk about Jungle Beat, because I played that game. I like it quite a bit.
Jungle Beat, go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah, so like when you fight the bosses, you kind of want to mash the bongos like as fast as you can to like really do as much damage to them as possible in like one cycle. So like you're mashing the bongos like kind of determines how fast you're going through those fights. So like if you watch a Donkey Kong Jungle Beat speedrun, for example, like the guys really mash the bongos really fucking fast, like faster than like I've been able to like do in my casual playthrough. Like I haven't come close to that. So like, and I don't know like how they still have palms, but hey.
the skin's just wearing off.
Yeah, the skin just came off completely.
And then also, I don't want anyone to forget, I'm not forgetting the Donkey Kong Land games, but they're Game Boy games, and we're gonna move on. Those games did in fact come out. Diddy Kong Racing, also really good, but I don't consider it a main series Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, it's more just like they put Diddy Kong in to try and sell it, I guess. But it's one of my, like I was saying, I don't really like racing games too much. Diddy Kong Racing is one of the exceptions. That one and Mario Kart Double Dash, I would say, are the two exceptions.
Mm-hmm. Double Dash, fun casually. Fuck that game as a speedrun. What I'm gonna say about that.
I can't imagine like speedrunning Mario Kart games. Like, no offense, but
none taken. It's I like it because it has built-in lap timers, and it's really easy to kind of see how you can get better. You know,
yeah.
And so it's my jam. And then I'll say that you guys, you long-suffering fans, in 2010, I feel like your luck turns a little bit. You guys get Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yeah, that was, to this day, I'm still like wondering where I rank DKC Returns in like my list of DKC games. Like, I'm trying to like remember if I did enjoy the game. I think I did, but like the motion controls really killed the game for like that was really a letdown. Like, they feel really forced just for the sake of like, oh, it's a Wii game, let's add motion controls to it. But like, that game would have been so much better if it had no motion controls, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just it's decent, but I cannot rank Returns like above any of the original trilogy.
Right. No, I agree. I feel like that was really the reason that we never took off from me as like a platform. Because I just really was like, and then after so much time has gone by, people were like, "Oh, you had a ceiling fan in your room, dude. That means that you could never play the Wii because that fucked the whole thing up." It's like, well, what am I gonna do? Put a trash bag over my ceiling fan when I want to boot up like Galaxy?
I had no idea
like,
that ceiling fans messed up the Wii, I guess, like recognition system or whatever.
My friend Silent Hero was on the podcast, episode 13 or 14. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he said that people would always bring their Wiis back and be like, "Yo, it doesn't work," and he's like, "I'm gonna do my best Silent Hero impression. Yo, you got a ceiling fan in that room?" And they're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "That's it.
That's it.
You gotta turn the ceiling fan off, man." So, and then they'd go home, and then they wouldn't come back. So I guess, right?
Well, damn.
But the thing was still a piece of garbage. I mean, the motion that it was so bad they had to make a new version of it. Right? It was just a better version of it.
The better version of
the Wii Motion Plus, I think, was it called? Motion Plus was the new.
Wait, really? Oh god, I've never heard of it.
They made like a bigger sensor bar.
Oh well, yeah, that ought to help.
They were like, I remember when they were talking about the Xbox Kinect, and they were like, and you'll be able to play Halo with it, and I'm like, God, no. My friend's like, it'd be so cool to like run and your character runs the game. I'm like, no,
dude,
no,
yeah,
you're
get me off that ride.
Yeah, I don't want to be on a treadmill. Like, oh man, my character only sprints if I do. Like,
yeah,
I'll tell you what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be walking a lot.
Well, not exactly. That's not exactly how it works. But like, it was just like it really feels like a wet dream that never came true. Like the fear, the thing about the motion controls and just like being active while playing video games. It feels like it never came to fruition with the Wii, and like that's like a big reason why Returns is just like it didn't do it for me. Like, I want to replay Returns at some point and like really see what I missed and like really like make myself a better opinion of the game. Now that I'm an adult, but like I don't know, like it's already like starting with two strikes.
Did that game come out on the Wii U or the 3DS?
It came on the 3DS actually, and the 3DS doesn't have motion controls. But I heard that the frame rate is quite bad. So once again,
Oof.
I don't own
This
a
thing's
3DS,
got
so
nothing going for it.
yeah. So once again, like I don't own a 3DS. I never played it on the 3DS. So let me know in the comments how does DKC Returns feel on the 3DS.
Void out here looking out for the algorithm, my man.
Well, gotta bring this video to the top, you know.
Oh yeah, if this video is going straight to the moon, baby, diamond hands.
Yep, just like Dogecoin.
Sundial weed. Man, when this podcast eventually comes out and people are gonna be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Because none of those stocks are gonna fucking matter.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys get Tropical Freeze, right? Which has got to be a good feeling because that game is actually good.
That game is actually good. So, fun fact about Trop, I didn't play it for the longest time because I didn't own a Wii U. Like, I never owned a Wii U. I completely skipped on the Wii U because, like, obviously there's, like, nothing worth playing on the Wii U except, like, I guess 3D World and Mario Maker. But, like, I was so like happy when they announced the Switch release for Tropical Freeze, and yeah, I like as soon as I got a Switch, I played Trop casually, and I loved it. It's like close to the top for me as far as donkey games go.
You put it above or below DKC3?
Above.
Ooh, look at you.
Mm-hmm. Like for me, it goes Donkey 2, Trop, Donkey 3, and then Donkey 1, and Returns dead last.
50 foot of shit, and then DKC Returns. Donkey Konga 1 and 2 and 3 above.
Oh, dude, like maybe after I play them, who knows? But like as far as like actual like Donkey Kong Country games, because like both Returns and Trop are also DKC games, like they're platformers, like they're in the spirit of the SNES trilogy. Like that's why I like to just throw them in this top 5, and that's usually whenever someone asks me on stream, how do I rank the DKC games? That's the ranking I give them: 2 Trop, 3, 1 Returns.
No, I totally see why you would give it that ranking for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
It's really good. It's just like everything works so well in that game. Like the music's good, the level design's gorgeous. Just they buffed the swimming. Like swimming doesn't suck ass in that game. The only like
yes.
The only bad thing is like they brought Rambi back again.
Dude, heck Rambi.
Heck Rambi. Also, the funky mode that came with the Switch version is fun as heck. I don't know whether it's worth, paying $80 to have the Switch version if you already have the Wii U version, but it's a lot of fun. Playing as Funky is it's nice, and it's also fast. The speedruns do use Funky Kong.
Yeah, no. I think Funky Mode speedruns, if you haven't seen them before, you should totally check them out. They're actually really, really fun and interesting to watch. I really do recommend them. They're fun. I watched you do a couple, and then I caught a few other people doing them.
Yeah, it's not like that popular of a speed game, unfortunately. Like I think there are around maybe like 50 times on speedrun.com for that game, which is like not as much as any of the SNES donkeys, which I think like each of these games, like for the main categories, like they have at least like 100 to 150 times for like the any percent categories. But like drop a little on the lower end. So please, if you're listening to this video, try and speedrun Tropical Freeze. We could really use the extra runners.
Yeah, absolutely. A plea. He called out. Okay. You had mentioned I know we're gonna end up going back in time here a little bit. But I wanted to talk about all the Donkey Kong games, and I want to talk about where your start in speedrunning is. and what that looked like for you, because I feel like a lot of people do kind of start trying to speed run their favorite games. Right? That's like such a great starting place. It's like, oh, or the game that you know the most because you played it the most, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, sorry, really quick, to finish my thought.
Yeah, for sure.
It's something that not a lot of people actually end up doing because their games are really hard. like SM64, the skill ceiling is just ridiculous. I mean, the amount of man hours that have been put into that game, it may or may not exceed the Apollo 11 space shuttle program.
Yeah.
Or Ocarina of Time. Those are like the two big ones, right? And like, it's really hard to pick up Ocarina of Time or SM64. But you kind of found an outlet here with your favorite games that I'm hoping you could talk to me about that experience a little bit.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just like branch out a little bit, but like you're absolutely right about SM64. Like it feels to me like if you're speedrunning SM64, you're like just speedrunning SM64. Like at a high level, I don't think like the top like 5 times on speedrun.com for SM64, I don't think they like play anything else. They just play SM64. It's like they're really dedicated runners.
Oh yeah, they're really dedicated. I think that their approach to that game is sort of like diametrically opposed to the way that every other speedrunner approaches their own game, wherein like you might actually have other games if you are not a top SM64 runner. Like if you're an Ocarina of Time runner, there's a reasonable amount of confidence I have looking at your profile, like, oh, this person speedruns other Zelda games.
Yeah.
But there is not a lot of like faith when you're like, oh, well, what other games does Cheese run? It's like, no, that's it. You know? So it's almost like,
again, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So in a lot of ways, they're like I don't want to say the alpha, but they are they're cut different, right? They're made different to like play that game. But they also don't share in a lot of the fun, I think, of speedrunning in that they only play one game.
Yeah. Then again, one of the upsides is like they can bask into the fact that SM64 has such a huge recognition as a speed game, and it's on a like it's been like the gateway to speedrunning for so many speedrunners. Like, you know, back in the day, I guess that brings us to like me answering the question you asked me, but like I found Twitch around 2012 by like finding Seglemic runs Super Mario 64. And like that's also how it started for me. Like I can't say I was a huge SM64 fan, nor that I can say that nowadays I am a huge SM64 fan. But I found this stream and I found him running SM64 and I was like, damn. And that's because at first when I was on Twitch, I was mostly watching Magic the Gathering stuff. I don't know if you've played Magic the Gathering, if you play the card game, but
I have. I played one game. I lost. I never played again. But
well, good for you, because that hobby is a money sink, and in my opinion, like it's like if you're not in like the top 1% of like players that like can actually make a living off of it, it's like minus like you're just like spewing off value everywhere. That's the way I see it. Like I used to travel to a ton of Magic the Gathering tournaments in like my late teens and my early 20s, and eventually I found speedrunning, and I was like, yeah, MTG, like the tournament life, it's probably over for me. I like staying home, playing video games, and having a good time with people that I've met on the internet. And yeah, that's kind of how like it like transitioned for me from like me playing Magic the Gathering to me being a dedicated speedrunner. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I'm gonna keep like telling my story now. I found Twitch in 2012 through Siglemic's SM64 runs. I didn't really pay too much attention to that whole speedrunning thing back then until like I stumbled upon HDQ 2013. I think it was like front page of Twitch for like I watched I think for a few minutes. Didn't really like think much of it again. And then I think later that month, I was scrolling through Twitch's game directory, and I found Peachy, who at the time was playing DKC1, and I started watching her stream, and I was like, what if I like try and do this as well? So I ended up downloading, an emulator on my laptop and, buying a really shitty PlayStation 2 USB controller, and I started practicing and doing DKC speedruns on that. And the rest is history at this point, really. Yeah.
Right. So what I've done, we've done 2 videos at this, and I'm sure at some point we'll visit DKC3, the world of DKC3. But we did 2 videos for Speed Docs, and I find that the story of the actual like community and like you guys kind of like exist separately from like what I would call the mainstream speedrunning community, like up until very recently, or maybe 2 years ago at this point. Like all of the speedrun times were on the DKC wiki, the speedrun wiki.
Yeah, so I think the migration happened, I want to say 2018, late 2018, the migration happened.
Yeah, I think it was after the video came out because it was not on for that. It had a redirect page.
Yeah.
If you try to look it up.
Yeah.
But what was it like? Like how many people were playing when you started playing? Like what was your experience like when you started compared to like what someone starting now's experience would be like?
The community was definitely smaller, of course. I would say that nowadays, there is a lot more help and like a lot more, strats and videos out there, and just like a lot more resources. The community is bigger. I can't say that racing is more popular nowadays than it was when I started, because like it totally was more popular. But people like they're out there, like they're out there to help each other and to grow the community. And like I kind of pride myself in the fact that I've helped, expose DKC speedrunning to a lot of people, and that a lot of people picked up DKC speedrunning because of me. That really like makes me happy to know that, and I hope I continue to do that. I like when I set out to start speedrunning, I never thought one day that I would inspire people to also start speedrunning DKC. That's really like that's really a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious about, so when you start speedrunning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you learn the route, right? There may not be any resources. There's definitely not a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you learn by doing races? Like just like I'm just gonna like grind this out. Did you learn by watching the record run and trying to recreate it, or did you learn by like were there people like, hey, I see that you're learning the game, let me help you? Like, what is that experience for you specifically?
Yeah, I would say the second option more so than anything else. Like and that's like not even just for DKC1. Like I feel like I've applied this method to almost all of my speed games, really. Like I just watch some of the better runs, and I try to like recreate what they do, and just if I can't really figure it out by myself, then I ask questions. I dig deeper for more resources, but like usually that's always worked well for me. Just like look at the tape, take notes, try and practice either like single segments or like ILs or just tricks or what have you, and eventually try and put it all together in a run, because that's what happens with me. Like you can't practice forever, and like maybe once you're comfortable with everything you want to do runs, but like for me it doesn't really work that well, in the sense that at some point I have to do runs to see where I'm at with the practice, and once I do runs then I can recalibrate and like refocus and just like pinpoint the problem areas and try and like polish what needs to be polished, really. And yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. And like still to this day, I do recommend people when they're learning a run to watch runs from people that are either better than them or like around the same skill level, and like you try to learn from them and like try to replicate what they do, because like if these people are to where they at in their speed games by doing the strats that they do, they're probably doing those strats for a reason. So like tried and true stuff. So yeah, like
absolutely.
you can like pick stuff up for yourself. You can just like either like take some of their strats and like leave others if they feel too difficult for you if you're starting out. But like in general, I've always found out that strat to be a good starting point when it comes to learning a game.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like based on when people start speedrunning, I can define what their go-to strategy for learning a game is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that the people starting when there was nothing they always go for the watch people that are better than you, try and do what they do, and then ask questions, right? Like, okay, why are you doing this? This is why we're doing this, because this is the fastest way to do it, right? Or like, yeah, but wouldn't this be faster? It would, but we don't do this because of this. Okay, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Or oh, this doesn't work that way. And then some newer people are always like, watch the guide or something, or just try it. I my approach has always been to do it casually first and see where everything is slow. See what comes naturally by trying to do it fast. Like, what do I naturally try to do? Why? Okay, this seems faster if I do this, right? And then like, okay, yes, this is faster than just walking, right? Roll jumping constantly is faster than just walking, or jumping is faster than just walking.
Yeah.
And then I try and like, okay, now that I've got an idea of like what's faster, let's try and learn it from there. But everyone's approach can be different. And everyone's approach is, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, right? Like there's no one right way, but I always am interested in like,
hearing different point of views, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the top of your speed game, even if regardless of records or whatever. I mean, I don't think it's out of the question to say that you're at the top of your speedrun pantheon for the games that you run.
I'm happy with what I accomplished, whether I hold records right now or not. Yeah, like absolutely. Like I was saying that the other day on stream, actually. I was like, yeah, like right now I don't have any DKC2 records, but like all of my PBs are former world records. When you think about it, like it's not like it's still not bad at all. Like,
yeah, I mean, you were pushing a game in a way at a time when there weren't other people that could do it. I mean, you haven't. I don't want to go too deep into your PB history. I have a few that I want to talk to you about. if you are interested in Void's PB history, it's very well documented in the Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2 videos on Speed Docs.
Yeah.
Some would say he's featured prominently. And I mean, I was in the audience for one of your races at GDQ, so like your accomplishments go beyond your personal bests that were world records because you've also done a lot to promote the game.
Mm-hmm.
You've played the game, and a lot of people have. I don't want to discredit anybody or, inflate you at the expense of others.
Right.
But there are a bunch of people who have played the game on the biggest stages that get new people into the game. And you've definitely been one of the people that I see playing Donkey Kong at marathons a lot. I was in attendance for, you did a really, excuse my language, you did a really fucking long DKC speed run. I think it was in Florida.
You're talking about my 103 run. Yeah.
That was,
that's one of my favorites.
I was watching, left, got breakfast, ate, came back, you weren't done.
Yeah, it's around 2 hours. Like the best time is actually my PB, 1:50:09, and yeah, like I think running 103 at GDQ was my strongest GDQ performance, and like I'm really happy with how that run turned out and how the commentary turned out, and it seemed to have been really well received. So
I do recommend. Do not skip out and go to breakfast. Go back and watch the VOD for that run, because I have, and it's a really great run. It is really long.
Yeah, like it is long.
I'm letting you know. Like,
yeah.
Like that game is, and then it feels like you're in the tree the whole time. That's my one criticism of DKC3. It feels like you're in a tree the whole time.
It's funny you say that, because there are like 4 tree levels, and that's it.
I know, but man, you spent like an hour and a half in them.
Well, yeah, hour and a half out of an hour and 50 minutes. Yep.
80% of the game takes place in those 4 trees. I swear.
Yep. But yeah. Fun fact: you mentioned 103 actually. So like when I started speedrunning DKC games, 103 was like. It was kind of like that kid who gets bullied in school, right? Everyone hated that category. Everyone, like, no one wanted anything to do with that category. Like, everyone would say it sucks, don't play it. It's like, it's DKC3, of course, like, don't play it, it's shit, like, category is bad, whatever. And one day I was like, meh. Like, let me see actually, like, how bad that category is. Let me see, like, let me see what happens. And I started learning it. I started playing it, and I ended up getting the first sub 2 hour run of that category. When I started out, I think record was like 2:01:44 by one of my fellow French Canadian speedrunners, and I was able to break the run down to a 1:59, I think, and then I started getting some competition, and like the run turned out to like shave off like almost 10 more minutes from that point onwards, and that was like I wonder if that was like end of 2016 or end of 2017. It was like at some point like during those 2 years that I started learning DKC3 103%, and yeah, it did a lot of millage since then.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I want to roll back here. Let's roll out.
Rolling out and rolling back in.
We're gonna roll out, roll back in. I want to ask you, when you started, right? Like, one of the analogies I really like is that in like Lord of the Rings, because I'm a Tolkien fan, that the world starts out super magical, and like magic diminishes as a function of time to the end of the story when the elves actually leave and all the magic is gone, right? So like they live off the magical and the world and the awesome and everything that's great in the world, and they have to leave and they go to the Undying Lands. And people that didn't watch the Glemic and Narcissa in the day, those streams were hype. They had more people watching them than any individual speedrunner on any individual day, 90% of the time today. Right?
Yeah.
Unless you get that fat GDQ raid, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting the volume of people that were watching the runs back then as you are now.
I remember Seglemic, like when I was watching him, like on like he had at least 2,000 to 2,500 viewers every single day, and he was most of what you were seeing were like WOMPs resets or like CCM resets or whatever. And it's like no one is pulling that off nowadays. Not like if you're speedrunning, like getting to 4 digits if you're speedrunning is like almost a miracle. And I don't know if it has to do with the fact that like Twitch was still young back then, or it's just that like speedrunning doesn't have the same hype as it had back then nowadays, despite the fact that it's so much more popular and so much more known and out there than it was. Like I don't know what it is. I really don't.
So many of the people that were watching him then are speedrunners and streamers now. You know, for every person like you that watched him, got inspired, started streaming, I imagine you stopped watching at some point. You know, so there's definitely like he was so popular that it actually hurt him in the long run. But when he got on pace, I mean, he had multitude of thousands of people watching him when he was on really good pace. I mean, and the chat was bumping.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But I wanted to ask you, where did being an entertaining streamer fall into your list of goals? Because it's one thing, like a lot of speedrunners use Twitch as a platform to record their runs. And so there's a lot of people that just do no mic streams, and they like whatever, they post and chat every couple minutes, and they have 2 people watching them, and one of them is their neighbor Dave.
Yep. No mic, no cam. Try hard grind for a 1 second PB. Yep.
And they always use hard brackets in their title. And so tell me, like, where on your list of being an entertaining streamer was that for you? And then how did that come about? Because you are a really entertaining streamer.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to hear that.
Best emotes on Twitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm cursing because they're so good. V0oid is a goat, dude.
V0oid, the GOAT. Please subscribe, by the way.
We're gonna hype you up at the end, bro. Don't worry, I'm getting there.
Exactly. It's funny. It's funny you asked that because when I started speedrunning and streaming on my runs on Twitch, I was not thinking at all about being entertaining. I was just like really focusing on hitting my speed goals, and I actually don't know when the change of mind happened. Well, it was less of a change of mind and more like me trying to balance it out a little bit more. I kind of want to say when I started, like I want to say maybe 2018 or 2019, just like around the time where I really started putting in the hours into my stream and like trying to, I guess, make a living off of it. Like, I mean, I still live at home, but like streaming is my only source of income. So like, it is nice in that aspect. And I was like, yeah, if I can like appeal to more people, then that's nice. But it never really was my main focus until I started like full-time streaming, and even then I can't really say I was prioritizing it over the quality of my runs, really.
Right, absolutely. I mean, you have achieved some solid success. I think among speedrunners, I mean, you always have, you got like 200 people watching you do like Hollow Knight, which is insane because like that's like a newer-ish game for you.
I don't have 200 people watching me play Hollow Knight, unfortunately.
I'm telling you, Twitch is... Listen, don't do that to yourself. I'm gassing you up. 200 people were there today.
I do get a lot of viewers when I'm playing Donkey. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, people love watching me donkey. I'm best known for playing donkey. The people love watching those runs, even though some days might be bad, even though some days might be heavy on the resets, but they do love the donkey. And even though there are periods where I do branch out and I like learning other speed games, like getting out of my comfort zone, like right now, exactly like you brought it up, like right now I'm learning the Hollow Knight speedrun because that game's awesome. They do come back, like, because I do come back to donkey always at some point. I always find myself wanting to improve like some donkey run, and the people they come back and they enjoy those runs, and yeah, I'm glad to see them return. Of course, they're missing out on the Hollow Knight, but
you know, it's funny. I was talking to someone who doesn't really watch speedrun content. It was recently he's a friend of mine. He's really a Smash guy. But he started watching speedruns, and he started watching speedrun like videos like mine. And so, and he's a good friend now. So I don't mind embarrassing him on the show. He is a fan of yours.
Oh, okay.
And so like I was like, he's like, oh, roll it in. I know that about V0oid. I'm like, okay, yeah. He's like, yeah, rolling in.
The trademark rolling in.
Yeah. And he knows, like, he can identify your emotes. So I think he's a big fan.
So you told him that V0oid is the greatest emote on Twitch.
Oh, 100%. I tell everybody.
Yeah.
I'm proselytizing for you, dude.
Yeah.
Like
So when is he bopping that subscribe button?
I know, right? Crunchy Brown, where is the subscription for V0oid, man? Like, my man, I'm gonna tell him after this podcast to look for the subscribe, man.
Yeah.
If it's not there, he's gonna at you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be waiting.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna make sure it happens now. Crunchy Brown's gonna get hit my man V0oid with the tier 1.
The tier 1 subscription.
Yeah.
Thank you for rolling in.
Man, this is a really great bit that we're going.
Yeah, I know,
putting
right?
all of our money on this dude subscribing to you.
I don't see the problem with it. Personally.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Dude, anything that gives you more money, I'm about it.
Hell yeah.
Especially when it's not my money. No, I kid. I'm like, I've been subscribing for a while. I got my bag.
Yeah. You're on like what now? Like 6 months, 7 months?
Hey, listen, by the time this comes out, it might be 12 months.
Holy shit.
No, not that long.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to ask you about one particular pop-off. It's one of my favorite pop-offs. And I watch a lot of PBs. I watch more PBs than y'all think I do. Because I have to watch all the PBs for the video, and I got to watch a lot of pop-offs. Right? And then there's a whole bunch of shitty ones that don't make the cut, right? Like the guy's just like, oh, I got a 1 second PB. Cool. Right. Man.
Or like the guy who PBs, and then instead of like saying anything, he's like, all right, I'll do another run. And then just like, he like resets, and then doesn't even like watch the credits.
Yeah, he's like, oh, bad run. I'm like, oh man, come on. Like chat's popping off, and he's like, no. That's why whenever I PB, I give the people what they want. I go ape shit.
Yeah.
That's what the people want, man. They want to see you like feel it.
Yeah. The people love to celebrate with you, which is why like people always like, they drop the bits, they drop the gift subs whenever like a PB happens. Like not even like it's not even limited to just like my stream. It's just like in general, like when the hype happens, like people want to be part of that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. People like are there to share in the experience of this thing that you're doing. And I totally, whenever my friends PB, I'll drop a 5 gift sub bomb, right? And then, because then the people that are watching that are only there for the PB, then they might come back around, So it's kind of like
exactly.
It's like a benefiting cycle. But you have one, and I don't remember what PB it was. But we're gonna do some cheeky editing here. I'm gonna play the pop off right here.
Grandad fucking saved the run! Ooh, got him! Art That's not the one I was talking about.
Oh, which one are you talking
man.
about?
Dude, okay, so I have a pop-off where I literally punch my chair.
I love that one too, dude.
Yeah, okay. I thought that was the one you were talking about, but yeah, the cramp that saved the run pop-off is also good. Yeah, man, I do have some good pop-offs.
You
So,
do. You're
yeah.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
So
and it's funny because usually I'm pretty like cool and composed on stream, and like I like my stream to be like chill, as long as like the runs aren't like, you know, worlds 1 and 2 resets and like my patience is being like grinded to a pulp. Like my stream, I want to say, is like a pretty chill spot to be in, and like everyone's friendly, everyone is like chatty, either chatty or comfy, depending on like the lurk spectrum that they enjoy residing in. But yeah, like when I do get a PB that I'm happy with, or when I like clutch something out, I really like let it go. Even like there are even like sometimes like I do get PBs and like I don't have like that much of a reaction. Like I'm obviously happy, but I'm not even like that high on like the hype scale. Yeah, so like that 102 PB where I punched my chair and the cramp that saved the run, those are like two of my better ones. I also got one recently playing this DKC2 ROM hack called Unveiled. I don't know if like you saw any of those streams.
I watched every stream. Come on.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. But yeah, so I had one like recently playing Unveiled. I was doing any percent, and like it really came down to like the very last thing on K Rool. I had to dodge a cannonball, and like I barely dodged it, and then like after that I let it go. I was like, yes, and like I just couldn't believe it. I thought the run was dead because I had lost 2 runs to K Rool earlier that day, and I was like, man, there's no way it's gonna happen a third time, right? And like it was so unbelievably close that it did not happen a third time that I was just like, God damn, it's over. Thank God for that. Bless the Lord and everything else, you know, for setting me free on that day with that run. Like, because holy cow, that was I can't imagine like how upset I would have been had I lost that third run to K Rool in that day. I was on like a tear as well that stream. I was playing super well. I was like getting runs deep, and I just wanted to get it done. And the best part was that third run was the best attempt of that day. So like the fact that I lost 2 runs earlier that day to K Rool ended up not mattering too much in the grand scheme of things. So it's funny how it turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. A few things I don't want to get too far away from without explaining what they are. DKC2 Unveiled, for people that don't know what that is, give me the quick summary.
So DKC2 Unveiled is a DKC2 ROM hack. A ROM hack is pretty much like the game, the base game that you would edit with tools and softwares. So like treat DKC2 Unveil as basically the DKC2 engine, except like everything else in the game is different. Like new levels, new bonuses, new bosses. Like the shell of the boss is still there. Like you're still fighting Crow, but like the fight in and of itself is different. There's a twist to it. Multiple twists, in fact. But yeah, it was made by nHINS from the DKC community. You can find his ROM hack on his Twitch page, twitch.tv/nHINS, or you can find the ROM hack on DKC Atlas. I think that website has a collection of ROM hacks that are on it. I've never really looked up DKC Atlas for ROM hacks, but I was told that MT put the ROM on there. So yeah, if you do like challenges, if you do like Donkey, check it out. It's really good, really well done. MT put in over 4 years of hard work onto this hack. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. If it's not your cup of tea, to play hard and impossible DKC versions, you could always watch my AGDQ 2021 run of that ROM hack.
That was really cool. It was a good showcase.
I was pretty pleased with it. I died a lot, but ultimately the point was to showcase his ROM hack on the big stage, and I was really happy to have submitted the ROM hack, and it got accepted right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And then the pop off, the explain what Kremtut Save the Run Dude means.
Okay, so now I have to go over the Kremtut pop off. So I was playing DKC1. I don't remember exactly like why or like when. I think it was
for glory, of course, right?
Sorry, what?
For glory.
Yeah, but like I'm just like trying to pinpoint
Right.
in the timeline when it was exactly. I think it was in 2018, but I don't remember what my goal was back then. I think I was just like trying to improve my PB, and I was on a run, and I get out of World 5, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if like I can really PB if I don't hit Kremtut, and then I hit Kremtut, so. To elaborate a little bit, in DKC1, you have this level in World 6 called Tanked Up Trouble. And that level is really infamous because it has the instance of a jump roll that saves the most time in the entire game. And the jump roll is a frame perfect trick where you initiate a roll on the same frame as you land on an enemy. So it's frame perfect, 60 FPS per second for 60 frames per second. FPS per second is kind of redundant. You don't have to edit that. But yeah, my train of thought is lost. Yeah, so Kremtut is the, like I said, instance of a jump roll that saves the most time in the entire run. It saves almost a minute. But by nature of what a jump roll is, you can only attempt it once, right? So you only have one shot at hitting Kremtut. And if you don't hit Kremtut, you can always hit the other jump roll in Tanked Up Trouble, which is Bird Tut. We call it Bird Tut because you have to jump roll off a bird. Kremtut, you have to jump roll off a Kremling. But Bird Tut is slower. Bird Tut is about 12 seconds slower than Kremtut. I'm much more consistent with Bird Tut. I do prefer going for Bird Tut in runs. But this run, I don't think I would have been able to PB without Kremtut. And I ended up getting Kremtut. So I was like, okay, cool, this run is on. And mind you, like even when you hit the jump roll on Kremtut, like you hit the frame perfect trick, you're rolling in the air, just like picture the clip that CJ's editor is going to put on the screen right now. You're in the air, you're rolling, you have to dodge those two vertical bees later in the level, and those bees are really difficult to dodge. You're unfortunately not invulnerable to bees when you're in the jump roll state. The bees are, for whatever reason, the only enemy in DKC1 that you're not immune from when you're jump rolling. So fast forward to me getting the jump roll, getting out of Tanked Up Trouble. I play the rest of World 6, and I end up beating DKC1 in 32 minutes and 12 seconds, which ended up being world record by 1 second. So at the end of the run, I just went, Kremtut saved the run, got him. and that's the story. That was actually the first time I got world record in Donkey Kong Country all stages, which I never really expected to. And I went on later on to get a 3156, which stood for, I think, 6 months before it got beaten. But yeah, that's still to this day my PB because I haven't returned to DKC all stages yet. A lot of people are actually asking me when I'm going to play DKC all stages. And I'm always like, well, if I get out of top 10, I guess I will. So just like, I'm just waiting for it to happen. Waiting on being kicked out of top 10.
Yeah, they're almost at 31 now. Did they find something else, or?
Yeah, a couple new jump rolls got added. Which
That's
makes
just pain. That's just
it
awful.
does make the run pretty painful. Yes, absolutely. But you know, gotta do what you gotta do. So shoutouts to my man Tylenol, actually, who is on the massive all stages grind. He's currently on a 31-37, and he's looking to improve that to at least a 31-2x. He won second place. Record right now is 31-06 by Lovebird. Also, shoutouts to Lovebird. And yeah, me, I'm just my time is somehow still top 10, despite the fact that it's over 2 years old at this point, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why I want my time to get kicked out of top 10 before I go back and, you know, maybe bop some kids. Who knows?
You teach these kids the meaning of bopping.
You could say that.
Ooh, got him.
Got him.
All right. All right. There are two other things I want to tell you about. These are a little sillier, so I save them for the end.
All right, that sounds good. Sounds good.
The first thing is that I have been doing something with you in your chat for a long time, and I don't know if you've noticed, but this is the time I'm going to come clean. I said, I did you, I think my friend, maybe your friend, Jake F, was on the show.
Yeah, my man Jake. I love Jake. Shouts to him.
Dude, love Jake. Shout out to him. The S-Stack closer, man. Clutch. He said he was not going to link you the podcast he was on because I talk about this bit that I've been doing in your chat for a long time, and he didn't want to ruin it. So he has not shared this with you, but I'm going to come clean now. Jake, you're a mensch for holding this in for so long. So when I first started watching you, the very first day, someone said, "Oh, I got Subway for lunch." And you said, "Oh, nice. What'd you get?" And they said what they got. I don't remember what it was. And he said, "Oh, I'm a steak and cheese man myself."
Mm-hmm.
And then you told the story about how you used to like the chicken teriyaki, but you had a bad experience with it.
I had a bad experience with the chicken teriyaki once, and I haven't had a chicken teriyaki since then, unfortunately.
Yes, correct. So I came back. I watched for a little bit, and I left. And you usually stream when I work, so I like to put you on for a little bit. And then I usually, like, when I have some downtime, it's like chill enough that, like, I don't jump out of my seat because you're screaming all the time.
Yeah. A lot of people watch me at work since, like, I pretty much stream in the middle of the day. And they lurk and work, basically.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
I do like that. Shouts to the lurkers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I came back 2 weeks later, and somebody said, "Hey, Void, I got lunch," and you said, "Nice, what'd you get?" And they said, "Subway." This was 2 weeks later. And so they said, "Oh, I got Subway. I got like a roast beef and Swiss." And you told them the story, and you said it the exact same way, which I was like, awesome. Like the way that you just said it a minute ago. I'm a steak and cheese man myself. I had the chicken teriyaki. I used to have the chicken teriyaki, but I had a bad experience with it once, and I haven't had one since. And I thought that was because I do the same thing. I tell the same story so many times that I tell them the same way. But I thought it was funny because we're talking about Subway sandwiches. And so this was in 2019 I started doing this. And so I have been going in your chat for almost 2 years and telling you that I got Subway for lunch. And then you tell me you're a steak and cheese man. And then I'm like, "Oh, I got a chicken teriyaki." I did that one time. I was like, and you're like, "Oh man, no, I got the chicken teriyaki once." I've done it 13 times.
13 times you've baited me about the Subway. Damn.
I know, man. I gotta say, I don't know why this joke is so funny to me. It's just that you say it. You have like the same cadence every time that you say it. I tried clipping them, but I was at work, so I would forget to do it. So I only have one clip in the war chest, but it is.
Okay.
So now the joke's up. It's everyone listening is like, CJ, that's not that funny. Everyone like you're like that was the big reveal.
The thing is, it's funny because as a streamer, you say like you kind of repeat yourself over time, you know, like the subway anecdote is a good example of like me repeating myself. The problem here is that I'm repeating myself to the same person, but I didn't realize that. So like, yeah, I don't know what I was doing because like I'm usually. So here's another thing, right? I do still like pride myself in the fact that I was able to recognize people in my stream and like what they were saying and like really like you talk in my stream once and I can like remember you the next time you come in, right?
100%. You do that much better than a lot of streamers that I've watched.
Yeah. But like I don't know, I guess I'm getting old, or I'm either getting old or a lot of people like watch the stream nowadays and I'm having like a little harder time keeping track.
Well, listen, I didn't just go in for the kill every time. You know, I had to get crafty so that you didn't catch on. So sometimes I would like be talking with another person in chat and then I would say to them, because you know, you're not reading every message. Right?
No, I'm not exactly.
So I can't go in for the kill shot every time. Be like, "Yo, Void, I got Subway." Like you're not gonna read that.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like,
see, that's probably why I kind of subconsciously glanced over like most of the times that you've asked me that question because I don't remember you like telling me about Subways 13 times. And,
I know.
Like, I'm good at remembering those kinds of conversations, but damn, 13.
I know. I hit you with the shovel just now. Like I've hit you, and since doing the Jake one, I was like, surely Void's gonna recognize because you really do. You're like, oh, you were talking about the last time you were here. You were talking about like speedrunning, like Sonic All Stars or something. Like how'd that go? Right? Like you're really good on it. So I'm not throwing shade, but this is a 2-year joke in the making, and I hit you with it like the other day. One time. Someone else came in. I was coming in to do it, and someone else hit you with it. Like they were talking about the Subway.
See, that's the thing. Like it wasn't just you who asked me about the Subway. Like
people want you to know,
I feel
man.
like it's multiple people. You know,
there's a Subway conspiracy.
Yeah, it's like it's not just you who's in it. that's what I'm getting at. Or like there are alt accounts and that bullshit. Like,
hey, you're accusing me of making alt accounts to trick you with Subway. My favorite part was that since the pandemic, you're like, yeah, well, it's Subway's closed here, so.
Yeah, I remember saying that like a bunch of times that I haven't had Subways since March of last year, since the pandemic started. Like I haven't had a Subway sandwich since then.
But you guys have your own steak and cheese recipe, so it's not like you're like suffering.
Yep. See, that's the proof that you're watching my stream. Nowadays, we're making our own steak and cheese sandwiches at home, and they're really good. But you guys can't have any because it's homemade.
This is true. Yep. I will say one of my favorite things about this part of the story is that the reason I like it so much is that people don't know what a steak and cheese is. They think it's like a roast beef and cheese.
No.
Tell them what it is.
Steak and cheese is like, honestly, it's like shredded steak. Then just like you had that, and you just like put cheese on it, and you toast it because I think the steak and cheese is best when toasted, and also it's best when you add the chipotle sauce. Like I do.
Ooh, so
here's my steak and cheese, the Void steak and cheese recipe.
For the very last time.
For the very last time. Yeah.
I'll never ask you again.
Yeah, so I do cheddar because here in Canada, most Subways don't have pepper jack. Otherwise, I would probably do pepper jack. So you do it toasted, and then you go lettuce red onions, banana peppers, and chipotle sauce. No salt, no pepper, because I'm kind of weird like that, where I even like when I eat my food at home, I don't really like add extra salt or extra pepper on
Yeah,
top
it's
of
perfect the
my
way it
food.
is for you. I hear
Yeah,
you.
exactly. So like no, nothing else on top of that. It's just lettuce, banana peppers, red onions, chipotle Southwest sauce, and you roll in with that. That's the sauce.
That's the move.
That is the Subway sandwich, the V0oid special.
All right, when you go to Subway, order the V0oid special and see how long it takes you for them to throw you out.
Yeah.
No, that was my favorite part. For people that don't know, it's kind of like it gives off like the Philly cheesesteak vibe, but it's not, right? You got cheese and you're not doing the whiz, and you got like the onions, like V0oid's like the banana peppers. I ain't never heard nobody put no banana peppers on it. So you might be flocking alone on that one. But
oh, really? Damn.
listen, I'm not a pepper guy.
Yeah, I respect that.
Wendy's spicy
I
chicken
love
nuggets
peppers.
are too hot for me. Like that's just a fact of life for me. But
oh, okay.
Hey, but listen.
That's fair.
And this has been a great conversation. I want to end it on a lighthearted note because the first time I ever met you in person, we were both at GDQ. And I've told you this story since.
Yeah, I've told me this story. Yeah, I'm like really, I'm smiling right now. Because I know what's coming.
So, I gotta say that very first and foremost, every speed doc video that we did before we did Donkey Kong were videos where we knew somebody involved. So, Donkey Kong, and I think CC ranks it as his favorite video we've ever done, the original Donkey Kong. Okay. I really love the DKC2 video, but the thing I want to emphasize to people that the people in the DK community and the Ratchet community to a different extent, they kind of feel to us like they're speed docs, like Hall of Famers or like royalty, in the way that like you guys were the first community that we had to approach, and we had never done that before. So it's like it hits different, right? So
yeah, for sure. You guys are out of your comfort zone and whatnot.
And you guys were terrific, right? So we like special place in our hearts for all you guys. So when I went to GDQ and I saw you, and it was the one before the one and they did in Florida. So it was that 1 year at the weird hotel with the
murder hallway. Yeah.
The murder hallway. Yep.
Dude, it's too bad that like we got snowed in and that hallway was there, because I did like the venue. The bar was like so sick. Like
that bar was great. That's the best GDQ bar.
You compare that bar to like whatever like fucking like closet we had in Herndon, Virginia. Like, come on, dude, that bar was awesome.
And they were all the bartenders were super into it.
Oh yeah, I love that.
So the way that the hotel was set up, like there was a plywood hallway that led you to the event center, and the event center was actually really cool too. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then you would go back, and then there was the rooms were across the hotel lobby. So you'd cross through the bar, you'd pass the lobby, and you'd go to these elevators. Oh, I did this at SGDQ because we hadn't done the video yet. I did this at SGDQ. That's right. So at SGDQ, which was in Minnesota, it was the first time I met you. It was like 2 months after the video had come out. And we had done other videos since then. I had been sick at the time, and I was in the hospital at the time that we did DKC. So as much as that was a project that I really wanted us to do, I didn't get to really embrace it. So it was the only video that I also didn't edit. So I got to watch it for the first time like everybody else did, which was really cool. And so I kind of walked away, and you guys were like heroes, not heroes. I don't want to like deify you like that, but you guys were like on another level. It was really cool to meet some of you guys in person. And so it's at night, and what do you do at GDQ? You play video games and you drink, right?
Yep.
So I drank, and I think you guys were drinking, and we were in the lot. We were going up the elevators. We were in the same tower. We begin the elevators, and it's us. It's me in the corner, and you and and I'll call them your partners, your posse, your friends, and you're all going upstairs. And I was a little too drunk. I was not in the event space. GDQ staffers that are listening, I was enjoying adult beverages in the bar only. I did not cross the event space to get to my room.
Nothing illegal was done during this
exactly.
GDQ.
And I was not drunk in the event space. I've never done that. I've walked through the event space to go outside when I was drunk or go inside, but I've never been drunk in the event space.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the hallway, and you probably, as you later claimed, you were drinking as well. Or yeah, enjoying yourself. So we're in the elevator together, and I was past the point of being chatty and was at the point of being quiet. And so I saw you, and I'm like, that's V0oid. And I had seen you a few other times that I hadn't said hello. I think CC had said hello at one point.
Yeah. I remember him introducing himself to me.
It was really cool. And I was watching from across the room, being like, I'm not going to say hi. Like, I'm too embarrassed. All right. And I'm like, you're like a super chill dude, right? So it's silly in hindsight, but it was really like that. And so fucking the only thing that it occurs to me to say in the elevator is, Kremtut, save the fucking run, dude. Ooh, got him.
Ooh, got him.
And you and your friends you're like, hey. Didn't say another fucking word. I got off on a floor that wasn't mine, and I took the stairs. And those stairs were such a way that you could go up them, you could go out the door, but then you couldn't get in. So I had to call someone. I had to call one of my friends to climb up to the floor I was on the elevator and open the door. So that was the first time I ever met V0oid.
Too embarrassed to stay on the elevator.
I was so embarrassed I got off on a floor that wasn't mine. And to be fair, I did try and go into the room that I thought was mine. But since it was at the end of the hallway, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I had it didn't matter.
I was on the 14th floor. I had 1401 or something. And so I literally was the first door on the left. Everybody and their mother was outside my fucking door every time. God. So and then I told V0oid that story, and he goes, "Well, if it makes you feel better, I don't remember."
Yeah, actually, don't remember that story at all. But I'm also a pretty forgetful person. So
hey, listen.
Had I known you back then, I for sure would have remembered that story. But
I was a random drunk dude.
Yeah, exactly. At the
in
time,
an elevator with drunk people.
Drunk dude. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
We were just all in our natural element.
Now, don't try to pull that again on me. I will remember you.
So V0oid's like, hey, don't do that shit to me again, pal.
Hey,
listen. You know what? He's gonna punch you like he punches his chair at the end of TKC 102.
Yep, and then I will say, "Fuck this gay ass game."
Oh man. All right. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to say before we wrap up here? This has been a fantastic conversation.
That's been fun. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give you a few quick plugs. You can find my guest from today on Twitch. His Twitch is twitch.tv/V0oid. That's V0oid.
Yep.
V0oid
the zero between the V and the O. Never forget. Very important.
Yeah, absolutely. There's zero mistakes in VO.
Mm.
There you go. There's your mnemonic device. You can find him on Twitter. That's at V0oid. V0oid spelled the same way. V0oid. You can find him on speedrun.com. Check out all of his previous PBs at speedrun.com/user/V0oid, spelled the same way. You can look him up on YouTube. It's also V0oid. Fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't upload too much on YouTube, but I kind of want that. I kind of want that to change this year. Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, listen, if you ever need someone to edit a video, man, I'll come in and do one for you.
Ooh, all right.
Guest editing,
Yeah, all right. I'll remember this.
See, I fucked around and he remembered that.
I'm not good at video editing. I've never learned how to do it. So like even just like, like teaching me like maybe like a day or two
Sure.
how to like edit a video, that could like go a long way. And then maybe I could like, I don't know, do fun stuff, upload some memes on YouTube once in a while. Cause yeah, right now it's just accumulating dust, but
I want to say this with all sincerity. I 100% would be more than happy to teach you whatever I know about video editing. Your contribution to Speed Docs cannot be understated. It's not just the help that you've given us on the videos. It's the, helping us get in touch with other people. It's how just personable you've been. You've been one of the most nicest, sincere people that we've met doing this. And you did us the biggest solid. You helped us out when we did SStat. You were one of the best runs of the day. I was like, man, it'd be so crazy if we got V0oid in here. And then you're like, hell yeah, dude, where are we doing it?
Yep,
and I was like blown away. And then you're just the idea that you're gonna help us again in the future on other charity events. Just like really, honestly, I've been looking forward to this episode. It was a great episode. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody that's been listening to the podcast. I hope this was a great one. I think this is going to go down as one of my favorites for sure. Thank you, everybody that listens and downloads and likes and comments, because it's because of you guys that we can keep having the guests on that we just want to have on and vibe with and have good conversations, and we don't have to work for the algorithm. So your support helps us keep the show the way that we all like the show. So
please bob that follow button, or actually on YouTube it's the subscribe button. Please bob that subscribe button. Please drop a like. Click the notification bell. These guys work hard; they deserve it. And yeah, rolling out, gamers. Thanks again for having me.
Rolling out, gamers.
Yep.
Anytime, man. All right. Rolling out.
Rolling out.